Okay, so now I have my pocket all done and it's ready to put on the shirt. So what I need to do now is take the pattern off the shirt. Before I do that, I want to make sure that I've got all my markings done. So the way I'm going to mark the front here is I've got 3 lines here. So I'm going to do a little snip here and here and here on this side. I'm also going to do 3 snips here, here, and here on this side, on these 3 lines. One of them is a fold line, a facing line, and center front. Okay? So, and then I've also tailor tacked the very top of this pocket. And I have a dot here on the sleeve, a balancing dot for the sleeve when I put the sleeve in. And so rather than mark that dot, I just went out into the seam allowance and did a little snip right here. So that's pretty much all that I have to mark because I've got my notches and I've put all my notches in. Now there's one thing that we need to talk about. Right here it says for left front cut here. So what that means is that for my left side of my shirt, I need to take this whole piece off. The reason I need to do that is because I'm putting on a separate band on the left side. So on a dress shirt, on a man's dress shirt like that, the left side has the pocket and it also has the band because it is buttoned over top of the right side. The right side simply gets turned under and stitched down, and it has the buttons. I'm not going to interface the right side. I don't need to on this shirt, but I will go ahead and put the band. I'm going to cut this off of the left side and put the band on the left side. So the best way to mark this, I've already done my little snips right here. So now if this is on straight grain, which this center front, facing line, fold line, they should all be straight grain, and it's all parallel to the grain line. So now if I take this off, I should be able to go ahead and mark that with just those little snips. So okay, so now I've got all my pins off. But let me just mention, okay, so I can take my pattern off. Okay, and I've got the tailor's tack, so I'm just going to pinch that and get that off. Okay, so I'll take my pattern off. Okay, now one thing you want to be careful of is that be careful of your right and wrong side. So on this shirt, you can see that this is a woven in plaid here, and so either the right or the wrong, I could use either one of these for the right side, but if I get them mixed up, I might end up making 2 left fronts or 2 right fronts. So I'm going to put a pin on the inside so that I know that this is I'm going to use this for my right side, meaning the side people see, the outside of my shirt, this one and this one. And I'm going to go to the inside. I could either do those 2 or I could do this side and this side. But I'm going to go ahead and do the 2 inner sides, okay? So if I do that and I hold this up, okay, first of all, I've also got to finish snipping where my tailor's tacks are, in between the 2 layers. Okay? So this is the side seam. If this is the right side of the garment and I hold it up like this, then that means this would be my left side. All right, so that's the one that I'm going to take off cut that piece off. This, with my pin on the outside, would be my right side. So I'm just going to put this aside because the pocket goes on the left side. Okay, so now the next thing I'm going to do is I've got to cut it. And I have to cut it off on this line, which from the outside would be the last line that I snipped right here. So I'm just going to set this over here, and I'm going to go over here and I'm going to find my snip. So there's my first one, second one, and where's my third one? Right here. 1, 2, 3. So that's where I'm going to fold it right there. Okay, and then I'm going to come up here, and I'm going to find my snip over here. So there's 1, 2, 3. Okay, so there's my third snip. So there's that. Now this one, I also, because of the stripe, when I cut it out, I made sure that my stripes were right down straight grain. So I can actually fold this right along one of these little lines, okay? Because that marks the grain, because this, when it was woven on grain. So now I've got that. So I'm going to take my iron and I'm going to go ahead and press that. And then once I get that pressed, then I know that's where I'm going to cut it. Just to be certain that I got everything straight, I'm going to measure. And right from here to here, I've got, it is about 3 5/8. It's actually a little bit more than that. Okay, so I'm just going to put my thumb down where that goes. And I can see I'm just a tiny bit off on this side. Wait, no, I think I'm good. Everything looks good. So now, what I'm going to do is I am going to cut this off right here where I have got my crease. Okay, and if I just follow that crease that I made, I should be good. Okay, that should be, all right, so now this one, I'm not going to be using this. I'm going to go like this, because sometimes students will get this mixed up with the band, because it's the same length and it kind of looks the same. So I cut mine in half, so I don't use it for the band. And then I'm going to put the pin back on here, because that's the right side. So now I'm just going to get rid of that. And now I'm going to put my pocket on, all right? So I've got my 2 tailor's tacks here, and I've done it in a very pale yellow. I don't want to use a big, bold, bright color because I don't want it to leave any marks. So now I'm going to put this here, and I'm going to put it right in the middle of those tailor tacks because my pocket's a little smaller. Now, there is something I have to do here. I've got to make sure that this pocket lines up with all the lines here on the shirt, okay? So because I have small lines, I did check before I cut it out to make sure it line up, and now that I've got it on the shirt, if I need to adjust it, maybe 1/8 of an inch or 1/16 of an inch here or there, then I can. Okay, and so I'm going to adjust it because I want to line it up both directions. Okay, so I want to line up the white here, and I want to line up the blues here. Okay, and I'm noticing something. I'm noticing that my dark blue is lining up to my light blue, and that's because I probably used a different side. So if I would have used this side, then I would have had the right. So what I did is I used a different side on this than I did here. So I've got to make a decision. Do I go back and cut this out and re-stitch it, or do I just line it up with the white marks lining and the blue marks match? The light matches to the dark. So I am going to decide what to do. I actually have a lot of fabric, or I could go to my bias. See, now if I did my bias pocket, can you see that? I mean, this hasn't been finished, but this also is kind of fun because the lines go diagonally, so I don't have to worry about matching them up. So I might do that because I like the bias as well, but this is such a beautiful pocket. But I don't think anybody would notice that except me, and that will bug me. Okay, once I get that on there exactly where I want, then I have to stitch it on here. And when I stitch it, I want to reinforce that corner. So I'm actually going to start here in the edge, on the edge, and I'm going to go up and over. And so I'm going to start right here at this corner, and then I'm going to go up about 1/4 of an inch away here, then over, make a little triangle, and then I'm going to go right along this edge and stitch like 1/16 of an inch away from this edge. And along here, then I'm going to come up here, and when I get to this top edge, when I did this side, I'm going to count the stitches that I used to go across that top of the triangle, and I'm going to count the same stitches here, and then I'll go back down. So I can do it all in one